What's good, B-Sounds? I'm Kit Kinraid and I want to help get you in shape this year. So this video is for anyone who wants to know the most effective, most sustainable way to start working out from scratch. Maybe you've never really been active and you feel like now is the best time to start, and you're right, it always is. Maybe you used to work out but you got injured, or life did its thing that it does, whatever. Maybe you're in really bad shape and you need to start standing up for your own health. This video is for you. Even if you failed a bunch of times before, no problem. I'm going to spell out what exercises you should choose, how many reps, how many sets, how many times a week you should train, how long you should train for. I'm going to tell you literally everything you need to know to start your journey to a stronger, healthier version of yourself. This isn't going to be the most visually exciting video you watch today. It's just going to be my mug talking at you, but my earnest hope is that it's the most useful video you see today, jam-packed with information that you can actually use to reach your goals. And I'm hoping that with it being this time of year, you can make it through the video on high motivation, just assimilate all the information you need to get the most effective results. You do enough to make progress, not too much so that you don't burn out, and we keep that motivation higher for longer until you've built a habit of health. And then when the motivation runs low, you can rely on that habit along with some discipline to keep you moving forward towards your goals. Firstly, I think strength training is the right start for almost everyone, even if fat loss is your major motivation. It's measurable, so you can get an obvious metric of improvement, and you will improve fast if you're currently out of shape. And unlike running or burpee kick-throughs or whatever, it doesn't require you to be in good cardio shape for you to start. You're never really gasping for air. Now, don't get me wrong, you can apply yourself and make it hard, but it doesn't have to suck. I think I'm in pretty good nick, and I still think running sucks. And when I was heavier, it was a million times worse. Now, you might be thinking, nah, bullshit, I'm going to hit this year hard, I'm going to run a mile every day, I'm going to do 1,000 whatevers. Don't do it. I almost guarantee that if you do something every day that you don't enjoy, that smashes you into the ground, as soon as your willpower runs out, which is a finite resource, you'll stop, you won't make it to where you want to be, and you'll backslide to where you started. And worse, you'll have another failure under your belt. We learn by repetition. If you repeat failures, you learn to fail. Don't do it. Being sensible might not feel as awesome because you aren't going super hard or whatever, but super hard leads to burnout. You only feel good in the short term while you're doing the super hard thing. Just do yourself a favor and take the sustainable road. It's less glamorous, but it will get you to where you want to be. And then you can do mad shit. I love sucky mad shit. You won't have to look hard on this channel for some really dumb, outrageous stuff, but it's fun because I'm fit. It's not a good way to get fit. So what is strength training? Strength training is going to build muscle and endurance, and your progress is going to give you the inspiration to improve your diet and your cardiovascular health. Strength training in this context doesn't have to mean going to the gym. It can, and that's certainly the easiest way to measure progress, but it can also mean bodyweight exercises done at home. This is how I built the base of my fitness. I'm a huge fan of calisthenics because you can just go to the park and get swole, but not everyone wants to be out there, especially in this weather. And as I said, it's kind of easier to track if you're lifting weights because you're literally like, here's the weight, here's the number. But whichever you would like to do, you're going to need to pick exercises. But before we do that, I want to give you some great news. Right now, you are a beginner, and that is actually awesome news. Even if you're detrained, as in you used to be strong or fit, you're still a beginner because your body is currently untrained. So why is this awesome news? As a beginner, you are primed to make amazing gains. You will pack on strength and muscle faster now than you ever will again, because the stronger you are, the harder it is to get stronger. You are going to have a great year, and with consistency and effort, you will be a totally different human being by the end of the year. Why else? As a beginner, your body will recover from work so fast. Now, you might be thinking, that's bullshit, man. I did X or Y workout this one time and I couldn't walk right for a week. But what actually happened there is that you did too much for your untrained body to handle. And I'm not being an ass like, oh, you just couldn't handle it, you should have sucked it up. This is actually great news, and I'll explain why. There are two things we have to think about when we're trying to build muscle: stimulus and fatigue. Stimulus is the signal for your body to grow. Let's think of that like growth tokens. And fatigue is accumulated damage in your body. It's like your paycheck. You have a limited amount of fatigue that you can recover from. So you want to spend as little fatigue as possible to get as many growth tokens as possible. The great news is that as a beginner, growth tokens are cheap for you. You could, for example, do one set of squats, and your body is so primed for growth right now that one set will be enough to stimulate your body to grow, whereas a more advanced trainee might need 5 sets. The fatigue cost of one set of squats is not very much, but the fatigue cost of 5 is considerably higher. Well, you might think, yeah, well, if one set makes me grow this much, I'm going to do 5 sets and that's going to make me grow 5 times as much. And that is absolutely not the case. Your body has a maximum amount of fatigue that it can recover from. And every set is going to give you less stimulus and cost more fatigue. So every time you buy that growth token in one session, it costs more fatigue and it is less growth because your body can only grow so fast. So one hard set might get you 90% of your possible gains this session, and a second set might get you all the way to 95. But is doubling the fatigue worth the extra 5% growth when you could have spent that fatigue on something else and your body could have recovered faster so you can train squats again sooner and get that 90% again? We're always going to be trying to get as much stimulus with as little fatigue as possible so that we can train better, more often, and make more gains. Think of it this way. Your favorite bakery has one donut left and it's £2. And you could give them £2 and get that donut. Or you could give them £10 and still only get that one donut. There are no prizes for paying extra other than ending up broke. It's better, surely, that you give them £2, save your £8, and then get one donut every day for the next 4 days, right? Yes. So what else is sick about being a beginner? Well, you recover super, super fast. And that's partially because you can get a lot of stimulus without paying a lot of fatigue, and partially because there's not really that much of you yet to recover, which is ace. So if you don't do anything dumb, you're golden. Because once again, there's no prizes for going super hard. You won't get any more gains from your one session. And actually, if you do enough damage that you can't recover before your next session, you won't have the same fatigue budget to spend in that session, so you're robbing yourself of gains in the future because you won't be able to train as well. It's like spending your month's paycheck in the first week and then you're screwed for the next 3 weeks. And worse, if you go super, super hard, you can actually lose muscle, which we definitely don't want. So just don't be dumb, okay? So now that I've explained why I'm going to recommend it, and it's not going to sound so outrageous, I'm going to recommend just 1 set per exercise for probably like the first 2 months of your journey. Which is pretty sick, isn't it? Like, when I wanted to stop being so family-sized, I ran a couple of miles and did Dolph Lundgren's Maximum Potential every day for like 6 months, and it was dreadful. If you'd have told me that I could have gotten better gains with less effort, I would have said, yes, please. Thank you. So this leads us to how often you should train. And I would say minimum twice a week, maximum 4 times a week. Like, once a week, you can make gains for probably 6 months and then just be perpetually in maintenance mode. But twice a week, you can make good gains for a really, really long time. And your body very quickly adapts to the workload, whereas once a week is long enough apart that you never really feel in the groove and your body never really loves it. So twice a week would be my recommendation for the first 6 months or so. If you're doing 2 and you're gagging to train, that's excellent. That's exactly what we want. If you push it to 3 and after the first few weeks you start to feel battered all the time, just drop back down to 2 until you stop making progress. But starting from scratch, 2 times is great, 3 times is very slightly better, and 4 is very, very slightly better again, but it depends on what you can recover from. Don't think, I'm not going to do this because I can't commit to 4 times a week forever. Don't worry about it. Do 2 a week and see where you're at in 6 weeks. And if you're like, I can only really do once a week, I would advise you to really, really think about that. You could go for an hour once a week and smash your body into oblivion and make minimal improvement and accrue lots of soreness, or you could go twice a week for 30 minutes and make steady gains for a good long while. Remember, we're only talking about 1 set per exercise right now, and spoilers, I'm only going to ask you to do 4 exercises. So that's what, like 7.5 minutes per exercise to do your 1 set. That's really, really, really more than enough time to warm up and execute your 1 set, as well as doing a lot of swiping or whatever. If you've ever opened YouTube and been like, ugh, nothing to watch, and you just scroll and scroll and scroll, and then you pick something that you're not really that interested in, but it was the best of a bad choice, or you got to make a cup of tea and you lose half an hour to TikTok, Guess what? You had time for another session. And I know I sound like a preachy dick right now, but here's the thing. I hear these excuses all the time, and I could be like, yeah, man, sucks. Nothing you can do about it, and pacify you. Or I could call you out, you could accept that your excuse is wank, sort yourself out, and actually reach your goals, which is what we both want. And basically, the more time you can give this, to a degree, the better your results are going to be. And I don't mind saying the stuff that you don't want to hear because I'd have to sit next to you at dinner or whatever. I literally just want you to get what you want. And that means sometimes I might say something you don't like, and that's okay. And I'm not even saying that I'm above this. There are times when I want to say, sod it and play Metal Gear Solid 2 for the 90th time or whatever. But the guy who makes the plans, that's also me. He says no, and I trust him because he's got me this far. So minimum twice a week, up to 4 if you can recover from it and if it's not draining your will to do it. Twice a week forever is infinitely better than 4 times one week and then 3 times the next and then none ever again, right? Consistency is king. Okay, I mentioned 4 exercises. Why? Because we're going to train full body. At this stage, it's the most efficient. I still train full body. There's science that I can tell you about, but I feel like this video is already going to be a million years long, so we're going to save it for another day. You've trusted me this far, trust me a little further. So we need to hit legs somehow, push somehow, pull somehow, core somehow. That's 4. So for legs, we're going to do squats and lunges on alternate sessions. Push, we're going to do bench press and overhead press if we're using weights, and push-ups and dips if we aren't. Pull is going to be bent over rows and lat pull downs if we're using weights, and rows and pull-ups if we aren't. Actually, to be honest, I would choose pull-ups even in the gym, but lat pull down is totally acceptable. And then 4 is core, and that is the one that we're going to fudge a little bit, right? Your core is hit pretty well just by stabilizing other lifts. I like to train core, but you really don't have to. So if we say session 1 is squat, overhead press, and bent over row, all those exercises require you to brace your core in order to execute them correctly. That's probably enough indirect training to cause an adaptation. So in the 4th slot, I'm going to put spice. Spice is whatever you care about, whatever gets you excited for that session. So if you want big arms, you might do some easy bar bicep curls and some tricep pushdowns, for example. For shoulders, you might do upright rows, or you might decide to hit your core directly with crunches or leg raises. It's dealer's choice, whatever you care about, and if you're excited about doing it, even better. Session 2 then is everything else: lunges, bench press, pull down. And in that 4th slot, I'm going to put deadlifts. Deadlifts are so good for you. They work your entire posterior chain, require a lot of core stabilization. They're going to give you a thick back and a dump truck, better posture, and they are cool as all balls. So that's our 2 sessions that we're going to infinitely repeat, and we're only going to stop when we stop getting gains from it. FOMO is real. You're going to want to hop on a different program. Don't do it. If something is working for you, don't change it, because eventually it'll stop working for you and then you'll need something else. And if you burn through a bunch of programs just like hopping around, where are you going to go? Milk it dry and then move on. Won't it be boring doing the same session over and over? Is it boring to keep seeing your body change in the mirror and your strength increase? Why don't you try it and tell me? We are actually going to vary up these sessions a little bit, and for good reasons. So session 1 goes squats, overhead press, bent over rows, spice. And then session 2 is in reverse order. So we'll go deadlifts, lat pull downs, bench press, lunge. And then the next time you run it, session 1 is in reverse order: spice, bent over rows, overhead press, squats. And session 2 is in regular order: lunge, bench press, lat pull down, deadlift. Why? Remember our fatigue budget? If we are always training legs first, we're going to be doing that with big bucks to spend. And then by the time we hit our last exercise, we're running low on fatigue bucks, and maybe we've mentally checked out because we're ready to go home. So we possibly aren't training that last exercise as well as the first. So by switching the order, we know that over that 4-session block, we're going to hit everything evenly. We're going to hit it with the same amount of intensity. But Kit, I heard that you have to train compounds first, and your 3rd session has spice first. What if my spice is bicep curls? Should I still train that first? Good question. Yes, because you added that spice. It's something you care about, something you want to grow. Once every 4 sessions, putting your accessories before your compound lifts is not in any way going to detract from your main lifts overall, but it is going to be a big boost to the stimulus you offer to those body parts that you've picked. There is nothing wrong with prioritizing them. You put them in your program already, and a little extra growth boost to an area that you care about is going to pay back in motivation to stay consistent when you see it working. Consistency is the only thing that really matters to getting where you actually want to be. When I started training, I was dumb and I did everything wrong, but I was so consistent that I got there anyways, just like 6 years too slow. Again, consistency is king. Okay, so we've got our frequency, that's how often you're training. We've got our exercises. Now we need reps. How many reps? The answer is 5 to 10. 5 to 10 is heavy enough that you get good at dealing with relatively heavy loads, and it's enough reps to effectively stimulate muscle growth. That begs the existential question, what is rep? A rep, a quality rep, which is the only kind of rep we are ever going to care about, is moving the weight or yourself through a full range of motion in a consistent manner. So that means for a squat, you're going to go as deep as you possibly can while keeping your feet flat on the floor. And then you're going to stand all of the way up. And before you try that with weight, I want you to do it just with your body weight and see how low you can get with your feet still flat on the floor. Notice that. That's how low I want you to go when weighted. But Kit, I've seen bodybuilders talk about partial reps, keeping the muscle under tension in the mid-range of an exercise, and he was bigger than you, so I'm going to take his advice instead. Good point. Do what you want, but taking the weight through a maximum range of motion available to you is always going to be the safest and least injurious way of training. Strength is range specific. That means if you only rep out in the middle section of an exercise, only that middle section is getting stronger. Meaning that if you get a heavier weight on it and then you move outside that range, your muscle is now not prepared to handle it and you get injured. Plus, type 2 muscle fibers are more responsive to growth, and they're the ones that will tire out first. So if you keep them under tension, you won't be able to stimulate them as well as if you did full range of motion and then they get a little rest at the top and bottom of every rep. It's just a little millisecond, but it will make a difference. And if you're still like, well, Mr. Bigger Than You uses partials, and once again, he's bigger than you. Yes, like me, he could have got to the right place using the wrong way, or steroids. Man, you can literally grow muscle holding a fart in on steroids. And absolutely no diss. I'm just trying to lead you down the right path for you. If you're completely untrained and watching this video and on steroids, not all of this will apply to you, and also you're a plonker. So every rep is taken through a full range of motion and every rep looks the same. You want to actively be feeling out whatever exercise you're doing and find the way that feels the most stable and strong to you, and then make every rep look like that rep. Okay, great, got it. But where do I start? Well, your first session in the gym is likely to be one of the longest for a while because you need to find that weight that lets you hit between 5 and 10 reps where it's a struggle to finish. And you think maybe you could have got 2 more if someone held a gun to your head. So start light, add weight little by little, figure it out. And now you write down that weight and you write down that number of reps you got that were quality reps with full range of motion. Next session, you try and do 1 more. So if you got 7 reps at 40 kilograms on the bench press this session, next session, you're going to try and get 8. And if you get to 8 and it's easy, get 9. And if you get to 10 and they were honestly all full range of motion and looked pretty much the same, well, now you've unlocked 42.5 kilogram for next time. So every session, you're trying to add at least a rep. You're probably going to find this very easy to begin with, and progress will slow down as you keep going. That's normal. Nothing's wrong. Don't stop until you have several weeks of no improvement. Then you probably need to look up what a deload is. Don't worry about it for now. Honestly, it's not important at all to start, and this is important, so stay on task. You said I could do this with body weight? Yes, you can. It's more of a pain in the ass, but it's free, so swings and roundabouts. You will be working with reps and progressions. So if you're doing push-ups, for example, you get 8 one session, 9 the next, 10. You keep going until you hit 30. And now you're going to need a more difficult progression. So elevate your feet and start again. Squats will become flamingo squats, and then you'll have to do a set per leg, or you can get yourself a cheap weighted vest and add a weight every time you hit 30. I think weighted calisthenics is a very sensible way of progressing, and anyone who's like, well, then it's not calisthenics, bro, can keep their chicken-legged opinion to themselves while you and I get buff and gorgeous and ride off into the sunset with Kate Blanchett on a super yacht. You have to bring your own date. Galadriel's with me. Consensually, obviously, in this fantasy. So you're saying, I rock up to the gym and I do one set immediately to the difficult. No. I would recommend a bodyweight set, if appropriate, or just the bar, and then sort of halfway between that set and your working set, you know, that money set that we've been talking about. If you're getting up there in weight, maybe a third, but if that last warm-up set is too close to your working set weight, you're just detrimentally affecting your performance rather than warming up and priming your body for execution. So I'd say body weight, 50%, 100%, unless you're accidentally heckin' strong, and then body weight, 50, 75, 100. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about how to get started. You'll notice I haven't said a damn thing about cardio or diet yet. I'll get to cardio in a sec. If you're interested in diet, I have a video on everything you need to know to nail your diet down. And unlike this video, I managed to keep that one super concise. So please go check that out after this. If weight loss is a goal, which it almost always seems to be, me too, bro, me too, know that strength training builds muscle, and building muscle is expensive on the calorie budget. And once it's built, you now have a bigger engine, which burns more calories. So even if you keep your diet exactly as it is, but you build muscle, you're going to lose fat. I mean, as long as your diet doesn't get worse. Like if you are already over fat, don't think I should eat more to fuel this muscle building. You're already carrying around a bunch of fuel which your body can tap into and turn into gains. If you are over fat and you want to do some sort of cardio improving, calorie burning exercise, my advice is literally go for a walk. Even if that's just like parking as far away from the shops as possible, or walk in instead and taking a backpack. Walking is amazing because you can integrate it throughout your day and not really notice, and it has a very, very low fatigue cost. So if you're jogging on the treadmill and really sweating, the fatigue bucks that you're paying for that run with are the same ones that you could be spending on building muscle. Running burns calories while you're doing it and improves your endurance, but building muscle builds the machine that burns calories all the time and burns calories and builds endurance. So spend your fatigue wisely. If you enjoy something like a sport, do that sport. For God's sakes, don't get injured, but doing a thing that you enjoy is an amazing way to not notice that you're getting cardio, and running definitely counts as that. But if you're only running because you think you have to and you don't like it, don't do it. So to sum up, 2 to 4 sessions a week on separate days, less than an hour per session. Session 1 is squats, overhead press, bent over rows, spice. Session 2B, as in backwards, deadlift, lat pull down, bench press, lunge. And then we're back to session 1, but backwards. So spice, bent over row, overhead press, squats. And then session 2, lunge, bench press, lat pull down, deadlifts, and then repeat. Every exercise is going to be for one working set for between 5 and 10 reps, which must be full range of motion and consistent reps. When you hit 10, you add weight. Write everything down. Exercise, weight, reps, how it felt. And sometimes you'll realize something while doing an exercise, like if I concentrate on pushing my knees forward in the squat, I can stay more upright. Write that down. You have a lot of blood in your muscles right now, and that might make you not the best rememberer. Please remember that there are no prizes for cutting quality and slapping on weight faster. All that happens is that you get less gains, and eventually you end up injured, and then you make no gains. And if you're worried about what people at the gym think, I guarantee you that big people with a brain will always be more impressed by quality form and less weight than shit form with more weight. And fuck anyone else's opinion. Well, that's it. That's all you need to know. Thank you for staying with me through this. I know it was a mission. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Do leave a like and comment, come back, let me know how it's going. And I would really appreciate you helping me out with my future endeavors by hitting subscribe and ringing that bell. If you have questions about diet, form, whatever, I have past videos, and dude, I will have future videos too. So please stick around so I can see you getting strong as heck. Follow me on Instagram, link below, and whatever else you do, get them gains. Be well.